Hey there, good afternoon. Belle Harder, inspiring others. And so yesterday I did a marathon. I did 3 different videos and I think ended up with showing you 5 to 6 projects. And today I would like to do another 3 videos and 1, 2, 3, 4, for sure 5 projects. So I'm going to conquer 2 projects with this video here. And the reason why is recently I had done videos showcasing these cute suitcase treat boxes, and they're just so fun to make up because they're just so cute and perfect for like this season of gift giving. And you could either use them as like table favors because they don't take up a lot of space on your tables, or they could be for gift card packaging and things like that. So at recent events, sometimes people double up and they come to more than one class. And I always say you're going to get different projects. And because of that, then I want to have different projects at each location that I'm at. But also people that haven't been to a class like to do like the treat boxes. So I actually came up with alternates for both of these. So today I'm going to show you the cards that I came up with that look similar to this, but then it also allowed people that came to my events that maybe aren't into the treat boxes to allow them to be able to make cards if that's their passion too. So I'm going to show you these cards right now. So let me get my camera turned around. And let's see. Oh, what did I tap on my screen? Sometimes my fingers get in the way. Okay, there we go. That looks better. You don't want to see my forehead or my ceiling, right? Okay, so I think I'm going, well, I'll show you the cards again quick here. So I'm going to demo this one first. So when you see, oops, let me get this off to the side. Excuse me. So when you see this gift box that I've recently demoed already, super cute, and I thought, how could I make that into a card? So I had a lot of fun putting this together, and it's really pretty quick and easy. However, I'm not a fan of tying bows, but I will do it for you, and I will also help you and show you how I tie bows, because they never used to turn out, and that's why I didn't like tying them. They still are a little bit cumbersome, but now I know how to tie a bow, and I will show you that technique. So that might be worth sticking around for, if only that, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is start with hello there, Avanel. Thanks for joining in. I hope I didn't butcher your name. It's a pretty name, if that's how you say it. Even if it's not, it's a pretty name. So my card base will be opening this way, real red. And then I had some already pre-die cut out of the texture notes. I've been using those texture notes dies a lot. And I know it's a big fan for a lot of you, because we love our rectangles, especially for cards that are naturally rectangular shaped. And I'm bringing this texture note die after I get some blending around the edges. I'll show you better what the pattern is around the edge. And then, since I'm going to be using for the cute little antlers here these dies from the autumn trees, I did some paper saving and cut out the antler or the trees from this piece of early espresso, so that when it gets covered up, nobody's going to know that. But then we didn't have to use extra cardstock to cut those out, and it saves a little bulk for mailing it through the mail too. So before we get too far ahead, I am going to grab some scratch paper here and pull that out for my blending. So let me grab a blending brush here and my crumb cake ink pad. And I like to do counterclockwise like so. And you could do it right on your glass mat too, but I don't want to have to clean that up before I go to the next part of my card for you. So then as you push that in, and crumb cake's pretty light, so I told people be heavy-handed on both picking up the ink and also on blending, putting the blending brush on your cardstock too, because once you hit those edges, it's so fun to see the design in there as well. So I'm just going to kind of add a little bit more color along these edges too. And it's one of those things that you think, okay, is there any difference? But I don't have another one here to show you, but if I showed you the beginning and then this, you might be able to see the difference too of having it get darker and such, like so. So now you can see those edges picked up that crumb cake ink, and it really adds a nice touch to that. Okay, so now this I can go ahead and get some adhesive on. So I'm just going to grab that and attach it to my early espresso. And I should have grabbed that measurement, so let me bring it over here to the corner measured on my glass mat. So 3.75 by 5, 3.75 by 5 inches early espresso. This is crumb cake, and now this is ready to go on my card base too. And yes, I did pop that up. So let's get some dimensionals over here and get those in the corner. Just kind of helps give it a little lift off of the red. And it's kind of a simple card, so I think sometimes we like simple. We can do all sorts of stuff, but sometimes simple wins the day. It just kind of is attracting to the eye that way. All right, so I'm going to just add this here and center that. All right, and so then next I'm going to take my circle punch, and this is the 1 3/4 inch circle punch, and I'm just going to bring over a piece of real red cardstock and give that a punch here. And now this is ready to go. I am going to also pop this up with a couple dimensionals as well. So I'm going to pop that up, and then let's pick out some black dots for the eyes. At the class I had a ton of options, and it was fun to see how everybody's look different with bigger black embellishments or smaller ones, or just different shapes, or I even laid out some googly eyes, and that was fun to see googly eyes on the treat box as well. So that was everybody's looked a little bit different depending on the size of their eyes too. So I'm going to grab these. These are from the Neutral Matte Dots, so that's a current product. Sometimes when it comes to classes, and if I want to offer them lots of choices, sometimes I sneak in some that maybe are recently retired. So I'm just trying to go kind of just eyeing the middle, and I think I'm going to scoot that one over just a little. So yeah, it's important to make sure that they're kind of centered on that nose. Otherwise, it might look like something's a little wrong with our reindeer. Hi there, Lynette. Good to see you on here. Okay, and then next I'm going to take these. These are from the Autumn Tree dies, and so it can be like a tree, it can be a bush. And then from the coordinating, there's a whole Autumn Twa bundle or suite collection that I've been loving. And so these are from the other set, from the Amber Autumn. I always want to say Autumn Amber, but it's from the Amber Autumn dies. So from the same suite, but different bundles. Now I'm just going to attach these with some mini glue dots, and I kind of like to put them on at the same time. It just seems like it's easier to kind of pair that up. So I kind of go like, okay, kind of like eyebrows, like how do you want your eyebrows to look, right? And you also don't want them sticking out too far so that they are going to be outside of the card, which makes it tougher for when you want to put it in an envelope to send it. And then I'm just going to go ahead and get some mini glue dots here, and then just kind of overlap that, and same here, and do an overlap like so. And then that gives us plenty of space here where I'm going to show you how I tie my bows. So I love this red shiny ribbon, and that's part of the Christmas suite from the mini catalog right now too. I don't know if the camera picks up the shimmer shine to it. That's just so nice. So my stamping friend Joyce showed me this a few years ago, and this was a game changer. So you make your rabbit ear, just pull some, and I always keep it attached to the spool, because then I never have the stress of how much should I cut off, or am I going to waste it, or is it going to be too short? So I leave mine attached to the spool, and then you just give yourself a little bit of a gap there, and then do a second rabbit ear, and then I just tuck and fold that and bring it through like tying a knot, like so, and Then we've got this, and I kind of want to maneuver it a little bit because I want the shiny side to show on the ribbon, the actual bows of it. All right, so this almost always turns out, though. I used to have it where it looked like, I don't know, like a chicken with its legs up in the air when I would do bows, because it just would never turn out well. So then I'm just going to grab my ribbon cutting scissor here, just kind of trim that down a little bit. So got that. All right. And then I'm going to take a couple, I like to do 2 glue dots on the back because this gets kind of big. And then, whoops, then that's going to secure that knot of that on there. So how fun is that for a cute little reindeer card? So yeah, some of you might go, that looks familiar, because at a class you may have made the suitcase treat box with this. And so now we've got a matching card for that. So that's kind of fun. So let me move on. I'm going to do 2 projects during this video. So same suitcase treat boxes here that people got to make with a little heart there, and I've already videoed this. So I thought, how can I make this into a card? So I loved the color combination, and especially for the holidays, I've always been drawn to our basic gray or smoky slate, cherry cobbler, real red, any of the reds and grays together. I always think it kind of makes for a fun pop. So here we have this right there. And I actually had somebody that came to my class, made this card, and I was also trying to, because this is smaller, trying to make the card go this way. And she showed me, she cut up her 'Tis the Season, flipped her cup and did that. And I went, Jean, that is amazing. I liked her card better than mine. That often happens. I always joke with my people that I end up liking their stuff more. That's why I come to classes. So that's kind of funny. Oh, I'm just going to backtrack 1 second, because you might be going, okay, but what goes on the inside? So I thought, why do I have this leftover piece of Very Vanilla? So that is going to get Bright and Happy Christmas Wishes. And I think I'm going to actually open up my cherry cobbler and stamp that out in cherry cobbler, because I'm going to need it in that color of ink. Oh, it's got a little weird edge here. Let me cut that off. Looks like it maybe got in an ink pad or something. Okay, so I am just going to ink that up, cherry cobbler, to go on the inside for my reindeer card. So sorry about that. So this weekend, starting tomorrow, I will be vending in Okoboji at the crafting retreat. So if you're local and would like to pop in and shop at my little pop-up shop, you can. So that's why today I'm going to try, well, yesterday and today, do lots of videos so that I can take the rest of the week off of videos and go have some crafting fun with other crafters. All right, so I've got that ready there. Now we can jump back to this one. Like I said, that was just bugging me to have that there on my workstation. Okay, so ahead of time, I have taken some cherry cobbler cardstock and ran that through my embossing folder, the Forever Plaid 3D, and this one also was cut 3.75 by 5 inches. And I usually like the cherry cobbler on the gray, but it just felt like it needed a lift or a pop. I didn't want it to look too heavy. I wanted it to look festive. So I went ahead and then grabbed some basic white, 4 inches by 5 1/4, which is the same size that's going to be on the inside, and just adding this. It just kind of reminds me of the Santa hat. You know, you've got the festive red hat with just the trim of white, and so immediately it just made the whole card just feel more festive, kind of pop the colors, and it all just goes together so much better, and I hope you agree. So we've got that there. And then the 6x6 package of Timeless Plaid DSP. I've been using that so much. I feel like every week I pop on and I'm using a different little piece from there, but it's just great, especially for fall going into Christmas. There's just so many warm, like fuzzy feelings you get from the Timeless Plaid 6x6. So I'm just taking, this is going to be 5 inches, the same as the cherry cobbler, by 1 inch. And so I'm just going to attach that with some adhesive about 1/3 from the bottom, like so. And then I cut these little strips. I had some red glimmer paper, and right now we don't currently have red glimmer paper, but I always feel like somebody has a little bit of this. And if you're making one card, it doesn't take a lot of this, as you can see. And so that's my disclaimer, is right now we don't. And actually I don't know why, purchased a whole bunch of this just as it was going on it used to be the clearance rack, now it's Last Chance. And I got a steal of a deal. So I offered it to those going to my in-person classes. Same with the suitcase treat boxes, because they sold out before I got to the very last class. And so I'd just kind of grabbed some. So I thought that way, if people come to my classes and want to purchase those retired products, I would have them available for them. So then it doesn't make me feel as bad like I showed something and then they're missing out on getting it. All right, so now we're going to focus on the cute little treat cup here. And so I'm just going to bring over this from the More Than Autumn. The More Than Autumn used to be a bundle. Well, I think it still is bundled technically, but I always like to tell people that when things are on Last Chance, this is a good reminder that always check the difference between buying it as a bundle and also buying it separately. So the More Than Autumn stamp set, huge, and has all these cute dies to cut out all these things and some of the words. And so I've just been having so much fun with it again, now that it's autumn. And the dies are just $14, and there's a ton of dies in there. So before I get out the dies for that, I'm just going to ink up the treat cup here. And then, oops, stuck. And then my little kind of whipped cream there, like so. So give that a little wave to get that dried off. And then that's ready to go through my cut and emboss machine here. Like that. I've got my, actually this looks like it needs to be flipped over. Every once in a while this starts to bubble too. I think we can all relate, right? But I love that I still have my magnetic platform from years ago because it's so helpful. I'm gonna see if I allowed enough room. I think so. Sometimes it wants to jump, and by the time I get both of them lined up, it might have been easier to cut them one at a time, but I think this looks good, guys. All right, so I'm just gonna, oops, run this through. Oh, the cup moved a little bit. Shoot. Oh, good grief. I don't know why it didn't want to just go through really quick and easy, making sure. Sorry about that. There we go. Start that over. Okay, getting there. There we go. All right. Oh, okay. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Usually, like, that's just second nature. I plop those on and away we go, and I don't even think about it. Okay, we've got those out. All right, and in the More Than Autumn stamp set, there's the cutest little heart. So I'm just going to ink that up in the Memento black ink there as well. And now we can do some coloring. So I'm just using Smoky Slate and then Cherry Cobbler here, and not a lot of hardcore blending, but I do love the 3D effect that the blends give this little treat cup. So I'm going to go in and just go along the top rim of the cup and then down the side. Sometimes I outline it, but here I want to give it a little bit more depth. And then around the bottom here too. And then fill in this bottom. I feel like this blends about on its last leg. Let me see here, hold on. No. Oh yes, okay, here we go. I feel like everything that could go wrong in today's video is going wrong. I always have, yeah, so I just did this at a class, guys. And so because of that, I always keep an extra pack of, and I try to tell my people that come to classes that if ever you feel like your blend's given out, I always have like my second backup plan packed in my bag. And I never like to get too many out at a time, because then of course we don't know which ones are like older, which ones are newer, and then we just end up with a whole bunch of blends, and they too could go at any moment then, right? Okay, so now I'm going back with the lighter. Oh yeah, my darker one, much happier, much quicker to use too, and you can fill it in. And then I'm just going to take my cherry cobbler. This is the light cherry cobbler. Because the heart's so small, I'm not going to blend. You could do light and dark and blend that too, but I wanted it to be fast. So got a cute little cup here, you guys. How adorable is that? And then I'm going to go back over my cream, just like I could have done caramely, like crumb cake or something caramely looking, but I kind of wanted to stick with the monochromatic look, and so I just did the quick scribble of the light smoky slate. So I'm going to tip that over here, just add one dimensional, because I'm going to go over the top of the cup, so I don't want to add too much of dimensionals and then have it get kind of that ruffled stuck over top of each other at the ridge of the cup. So this works good. And so for this, I'm just going to kind of put just below that red glimmer paper here, and then this is gonna go like so there. And now we need our excuse me, our sentiment, and I'm going to bring over my cherry cobbler ink pad. 'Tis the season, and here just a 1/2 inch strip of basic white, like that. And then I like to give people strips to stamp on, because there's nothing worse than like just having this so exact. I know it's pretty tight up and down, but to kind of rule that out on the length is nice and helpful too. So this, I'm just going to grab, what I like to do is like the size of what I need, and just cut that off my strip of dimensionals. I just like treat them like gold whenever I've got the edge pieces left of my dimensionals. So now this is going to go across there like so. Just going to tuck that out against the edge of the cherry cobbler kind of. And then that just kind of fills that spot. So we have just enough spot though left for embellishments. And do you guys remember these from last year? These are still available. Last year, this was the hot ticket item, the real red and white adhesive backed peppermints. Love them. And anytime they would be like in, they'd be out like literally within hours. So I have been going through these this season, because I just remember last year I had to be so careful about when I use them, knowing people couldn't always get them. So I'm going to take one of the larger little peppermints. Another reason why I like them, they're very flat for mailing. So I'm going to take a large and a medium, and then I'm going to grab a medium. Oops, maybe that was a small. We'll see here once I lay it down. Yeah, that's a small. So now I'm going to go with the medium over to the side here. I'm actually, wish my friend Kirsten was watching, because she's always like, you always use 3. I dare you, double dog dare you to use more than 3. So on here, I've got 4 now. So you can see that. And then for the inside, I was so embarrassed the other night. Every once in a while, this does happen, not very often. People are like, where's the Merry Christmas? Well, at the station, they could make this card or this card. So I thought they meant this little Merry Christmas. And I was like, well, it's right here. See, it's tiny. That's why you couldn't see it. Oh no, what they were looking for was this big Merry Christmas for the inside. And you guys, it was sitting at home still. And I hate it when that happens. And so I was embarrassed, of course, but more alarmed, like, I hope when I get home, it's at home. So yes, so it was at home, and this is from the Traditions of Christmas, or Traditional Labels, that bundle. It is from that. So I just pulled that out. So I was like, oh, good. Because I do like the size of it, and I just love kind of that easy to read cursive. So that makes that kind of fun. All right, so you can see this coordinates with that, depending if you're a treat person or a card person. And then if you've just joined in, you can also see, and again, the suitcase treat box, and then how I've changed that into a card as well. So hopefully you guys can get some inspiration. That's what I am here for. I love sharing my ideas and projects with you. So today, like I said, I'm doing a marathon again. So I will be back probably in a couple hours again, and I already have 2 more projects lined up to show you then, and hopefully a 3rd video after that too. So I'm going to take the still shots of the projects that I just did here and post them, so that way you have the list, like the recipe list and shopping list, if that is helpful for you guys too. So take care. See you later.